Hello and welcome to STEM Smart Academy. This is Mr. Brian Odongo. I'm going to be your facilitator throughout this session. So today we are learning about geometrical construction in grade 7. We are going to do some bit of construction and I want to have the following one. I want to have a protractor. This is what we call a protractor. I also want to have a ruler. I have my ruler there. Then I want you to have a compass with a pencil. So those are the materials needed in this lesson. Those are the materials needed in this lesson. So what we are going to learn, or rather what we are going to learn, we have the following things. One, we are going to learn about measuring angles. We are going to learn about measuring angles. That is the first item we are going to learn. That is the first item we are going to learn. Item number 2 we are going to learn is what is called constructing angles. We are also going to look at number 3. We are also going to look at what we call constructing triangles. Then finally, number 4, we are going to discuss about constructing circles. Apparently I forgot one. We have also what is called bisecting angles. Bisecting angles. So these are the things that we are going to consider in our discussion, dear learners. Don't forget to subscribe to STEM Smart Academy if you find the channel helpful to you. So first of all, let us start by looking at what is called item number 1 is what is called measuring angles. Let's look at what we call, or rather what we mean when we say measuring angles. Now this is not the first time that you hear about measuring angles, and I'm sure you've interacted with it. What we use to measure angles is what we call a protractor, and that's what we call a protractor. When you look at a protractor, it has 2 types of scales. We have the outer scale. For instance, this one here is starting from 0, 10, 20, 30, all the way to 180. Then we have the inner scale starting from 180, 170, 160, 150, all the way back to 0. So we have the outer scale and the inner scale. So the choice of a scale depends on the side in which you are measuring. Always remember to start measuring from the 0 scale, not the 180 scale. So in some cases you can measure using the outer scale, or rather using the inner scale. Let us look at an example. If you have this as your angle, assume this is your angle here. Let's assume that is our angle. And in an exam you've been told to measure the size of that angle. How do you measure the size of that angle? You can see your angle has been joined. The 2 lines have intersected at this point. So when you take your protractor, you have this line from 0 to 0 here. This line here is called the baseline of a protractor. Then we have this vertical line from 90 degrees down here. Then the vertical line and the baseline intersect at some point here. That point where those two lines intersect is what's called the center of your protractor. So when you are measuring an angle, dear learners, one, you make sure that the center of your protractor is at the intersectory point of those two lines, like that. Then after that, now I can see my angle I have to measure in this direction. So I have the outer scale and the inner scale. In this case, if I use the outer scale is beginning from 180, and I've told you that you always use a scale that begins from 0, meaning in this case I will not use the outer scale, but I will rather use my inner scale, 0, 10, 20. So this goes all the way 50, 51, 52. So the angle there is 52 degrees. So you realize that this angle here is 52 degrees. You can also even have an angle positioned in this manner. You can have an angle positioned in that manner. Then you are told to measure the size of that angle. It's not difficult. Just take your protractor. I can even position my protractor this way, such that the center of my protractor lies at the intersectory point of the two lines. Then the baseline lies on top of this one of the lines, like this. Then with this, I be very observant. Obvious, my angle has to read from this one to this in this direction. In this direction. So this will be, if I use the outer scale is the one setting with 0. So I'm going to use the outer scale here. It's exactly at 60 degrees. So meaning this angle here is 60 degrees. If I did not want to position my protractor that way, I could have even positioned it again this way. I want you to be very keen. They have different variations. I can position my protractor this way. I can position my protractor that way. Once I've positioned my protractor that way, ladies and gentlemen, once I've positioned my protractor that way, I can now read. Now you can see I have to read from here the beginning, going that way in the anti-clockwise direction. If I use the outer scale is beginning with 180, which is wrong. I have to use a scale that begins with 0. That is the inner scale. You can see it goes all the way to 60 mark. So that means that angle is 60. Basically, that's how you measure angles. That's how you measure angles. I want to look at now the second item of our discussion, which is called bisecting angles. We call it bisecting angles. And it's good you get to know what is meant by the term bisecting angles. So you can say bisecting an angle is simply dividing the angle into two equal parts. Bisecting an angle is simply dividing an angle into two equal parts. So that's what we call bisecting an angle. When you divide an angle, if your angle was 60 degrees, if you divide 60 by 2, that will be 30. So that's what we call bisecting an angle. If the angle was maybe say maybe 90 degrees, you divide 90 by 2 and get two smaller angles, which is 45 degrees and 45 degrees. That means you will have divided the angle. To bisect is to divide into two equal parts. So let's look at a case example. I want to look at a case example. I want to look at a case example. We look at a case example here. We look at a case example. Let's have this as our angle. I want we have this as our angle here, ladies and gentlemen. Assume you have this as your angle. This as your angle. First, let's measure that angle. To measure that angle, I'll take my protractor. I've shown you how to measure angles. I can align my protractor this way. I can align my protractor that way. Then when I do reading from the 0 scale, that means I'll be using the outer scale. It goes all the way to 80. So meaning this angle here is 80 degrees. If I was told to measure that angle, the angle there could have been 80 degrees. Now I want to bisect that angle. Remember, to bisect means to divide it into 2 equal parts. Ideally, I know when I divide 80 by 2, I'll be getting 40. But what is the process? Now I'll take my pair of compass, ladies and gentlemen. I'll stand at this point here, at where the two have intersected. I'll stand at that point, adjust the radius of my compass, make an arc here, make another arc on this line. I've not altered with my compass. I've made an arc here, I've made an arc there. There are my 2 arcs. I'll transfer my compass to one of my arcs, maybe to this point. I can now maybe increase even the length, the radius of my compass, or even now reduce it. Then make an arc here, transfer the same length of my compass without adjusting to the other remaining arc. Then make your arc. Then now using a ruler and a pencil, join from here to where the 2 arcs have intersected here. Then now join that line. Join that line like that. Now try and measure the angles. That's how you bisect a line. Let's try and measure those angles. Let's try and measure those angles, ladies and gentlemen. You can see the angle there is 40. Similarly, even if I try to measure this remaining one here, it's also getting us, when I use the inner scale, 0, 10, 20, 30, 40. So it has been divided 40. So that's how you bisect an angle. Let's just have another rough one. Assume you have this as your triangle. Not really a triangle, but you have this as your angle. You have that as your angle. And you've been told to bisect that angle. To bisect that angle, it's very simple. Go get the intersectory point. The 2 lines have intersected at this point. Stand there with your compass. You can adjust the radius of your compass. Make an arc on this line. Make another arc on that line. I've made 2 arcs like that. After making my 2 arcs, I go to one of my arcs, maybe this one here. I go to one of my arcs. I can even now increase the length of my compass. Make an arc here. Go to this other side. Go to this other point here. And make an arc. Now using your ruler, you have now to join. Using your ruler, you have now to join. You have now to join. And you will have realized you will have divided that angle into 2. And that is what we call bisecting an angle. Bisecting an angle. Bisecting an angle. I hope I'm clear up to that point. I hope I am clear up to that point. So we've looked at measuring angles. We've looked at bisecting angles. Now let's look at our third parameter. What from our list, it should now be constructing angles. Let's look at item number 3, what we call constructing angles. Our item number 3 is called constructing constructing angles. Constructing angles, that is the first thing. The third thing I want to look at. To construct an angle means we are no longer going to use again a protractor to measure, but in most cases we will just be using a ruler and a pair of compass only. So part A, the first angle I want to start constructing is constructing 90 degrees. Constructing 90 degrees. Now, to construct 90 degrees, it is very simple. To construct 90 degrees, it's very simple. The first thing is draw a line of any length. Draw a line. Just draw a line. Let me draw a line here. I've drawn my line. Maybe I want to construct this is my line AB. I can call it line A, line B. Line AB. I want to construct 90 degrees at point B. I want to construct 90 degrees at point B. Now for I to construct 90 degrees at point B, I'm going to extend this line, this part at B here. I'm going to extend this line to the other side. Make sure you use a sharp pencil. I've extended my line. Now because I want to construct 90 degrees at point B, I'll stand here at B, my compass at B. Then I'll adjust my radius. I'll make an arc here. I also make another arc on the left. I'm saying I've stood here at B, make an arc on the right to cut that line AB, make another arc on the left to cut the line AB, like that. After cutting the line, you with the two arcs, go to one of your arcs. I can start with the arc on the left. Stand on that arc there. Then extend your compass. And extend your compass a little bit so that it exits half of the length, like that. Make an arc at the top. Make another arc at the bottom. Without adjusting my compass, I'll stand on this other arc too. I'm going also to stand here. Once I've stood there, I make an arc at the top to cut the top arc. Again, I make another arc at the bottom. I make another arc at the bottom. Now using a ruler, I join the intersection of the two arcs like this. I join it like that. And what you realize is that the angle constructed here is 90 degrees, and that is how you construct 90 degrees. That is how you construct 90 degrees. I have explained how to construct 90 degrees. I have explained how to construct 90 degrees. Let's also look at constructing. I want to look at item 2. That is part B. After learning how to construct 90 degrees, part B, let's look at constructing 60 degrees. Constructing 60 degrees. I want to look at how to construct 60 degrees. Constructing 60 degrees. It is very simple to construct 60 degrees. Constructing 60 degrees, it's very simple. And this is how you will construct 60 degrees. Draw any line. Draw any line. Maybe I can call my line MN. Draw any line. You be very accurate when you are drawing. This is my line MN. MN. I want to construct 60 degrees at point M. I want to construct 60 degrees at point M. So to construct 60 degrees at point M, I'm going to take my pair of compass with M as the center. I'll stand here at M. I want you to be very keen. I'm standing here at point M, the point I marked M. Then I can, just using any radius of your choice, I've chosen that radius, I make a bigger arc from the top to cut the line MN. It must cut the line MN like that. I've made any arc. I'm saying any arc. I've made an arc to cut the line. After that, I don't adjust anything on my compass. I just maintain and go to where the arc cut the line MN. I'll stand at that point here. I'm saying without adjusting any measurement. I'll stand there. Then I make another arc at the top to cut the first arc drawn. Like that. Like that. Then after that, now I'm free now to join M to the point where the two arcs have cut each other. I'm free now to join like this. Let's now measure that angle. Let's measure this angle we formed here and confirm if it is 90 degrees. Remember, what did we say we used to measure angles? We said we use a protractor in measuring angles. So here is my protractor. I want to measure the angle. So I can position it in several ways. I've shown you how to measure angles. I can position it this way. I can position it this way. After positioning it, because now I have to start from the 0 mark, that is the outer scale, I'll come and confirm up to this point, that is 60 degrees. You can see the 60 degrees here, meaning this angle is 60. I can measure it maybe this way, positioning my protractor this way. Or I can even just decide to position it the normal way. I can just decide to position it the normal way. When I position it the normal way, you have to see that I'm going to start with the inner scale, because it's the inner scale that starts with 0, 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Yes, so that's how you construct 60 degrees. I want to construct another 60 degrees to make you people understand the logic. To make you people understand the logic. Let's say maybe I've got this line. This is maybe PQ. I want to construct 60 degrees at Q now, not P. I want to construct 60 degrees at Q. How do I construct 60 degrees at Q? I'll take my compass with Q as the center, meaning that I'll stand at Q here, that way. Then using any compass radius of your choice, I make an arc. I make an arc that way. I make an arc. After making an arc that way, I'll go to where the arc cut the line PQ. I'll go to where the arc cut the line PQ. I'll stand here. Then make another arc to cut that arc. Okay? Then after that, I'll now join using a ruler P from Q to where the two arcs cut each other. From Q to where these two arcs cut each other. That way. I'll now join like that. I'll now join like that. When I measure that angle, it should be exactly 60 degrees. Let's confirm. When you measure this angle, sorry, let me see something. What is this? Sorry, let me just confirm what I've done. I said I stood at Q. Yes, I made an arc like that. That was the initial arc. I came to this point, made another arc. Sorry, I was not accurate. I make an arc here. Then when I join, this should be the path. This should be the line. Apologies for that. This should be the line. This one here. Do away with this one. This one here, it's not correct. That should be the line. Now when you measure, let's now measure it. When you measure, you see it is 60. That's how you construct 60 degrees. That is how you construct 60 degrees. Now because you've constructed 90 degrees at the initial point here, when you are told to construct 45 degrees, you only construct 90 degrees, then bisect that 90 degrees to get 45 degrees. Similarly, when you have 60 degrees constructed here and you are told to construct 30 degrees, you bisect the 60 degrees to get 30. After getting 30 degrees, and you are even maybe asked to get to construct 15 degrees, you bisect your 30 degree angle into 2 to get 15. When you have 15 degrees and you are maybe asked to get 7.5 degrees, you again bisect that 15 degrees into 2 to get 7.5 and 7.5. I want to look at now what is called after constructing angles. Let's look at what is called constructing triangles. Let's look at what we call constructing triangles. Now here we are going to use examples. Let's have these as our examples. Constructing triangles is our next area of discussion, which I have said we are going to make use of what is called real examples. We are going to make examples. We are going to be very, very categorical here. Okay, so example 1, let us say construct triangle ABC such that AB is equal to 5 centimeters, BC is equals to 7 centimeters, and AC is equals to 3 centimeters. So that is the first example. We are supposed to construct triangle ABC such that AB is equal to 5 centimeters, BC is equal to 7 centimeters, and AC is equal to 5 centimeters. How are we going to do this? They are saying AB is equal to 5 centimeters. So I'm going to guide you step by step into understanding exactly how this should be done. So step number 1, we are going to draw our line AB here. We are going to draw our line AB. That is our line. I'll mark this point here A, but A to B should be 5 centimeters. So I have to measure 5 centimeters using my ruler and pair of compass. So with my compass, my ruler, when you look at your ruler, there is a beginning point here. You stand at that point, then you measure 5 centimeters. 5. I'm also trying to measure exactly 5. This is my 5 centimeters. Now I'll stand at that point. That is, I'm standing at A. I'll make an arc here. This is going to be my B, such that now this is 5 centimeters. 5 centimeters. BC, from B to C should be 7 centimeters. As per the question, BC should be 7 centimeters. BC should be 7 centimeters. Again, I use my ruler and a pair of compass to measure the 7 centimeters. I'm going to extend my compass up to 7. Up to 7 there. It is now at 7. I'm now going to stand at B. I'll stand here at B. I'm now standing at B. Then with my compass at B, I'm going to make an arc, because I don't know where does it touch. It's an arc but of 7 centimeters. That is 7 centimeters. 7 centimeters. That is 7 centimeters. After making that arc, I'm being told that AC now should be 3 centimeters. So again, I use my compass and a ruler to measure 3 centimeters. I have to measure 3 centimeters here. There is my 3 centimeters I've measured. I'll now stand here at A and make an arc. Where the two arcs have cut each other is the point we call point C. So now I have now to join A to that point. I'm joining A to this point. I also join B to that very point. B to that point. And that point is a point now you call point C. And by doing like that, you would have constructed triangle ABC. You would have constructed triangle ABC. So I have these questions here. Measure the size of angles. Part Roman 1, it says, that's the symbol we use to denote angle. Angle ABC. Roman 2, we are also going to measure the size of angle CAB. Then finally, Roman 3, we are going to measure the size of angle ACB. So I want to be very keen. We are going to start answering Roman 1 that are said to measure the size of angle ABC. When you've been told to measure the size of angle ABC, this middle letter is the point which you are going to measure. We are going to measure B. So in that case, this is what we are going, the angle we are going to measure. That middle angle between the 3 letters, the middle letter is the one we are going to consider. So I allowed to measure that angle. I'm going to take my protractor. Remember, we use a protractor to measure angles. I'll take my protractor. Make sure the center of my protractor is at this point. That way. I've shown you how to measure angles. Be very keen here, ladies and gentlemen. That way. So when you look at here, I'm going to read the outer scale, because the outer scale is the one starting with 0, 10, 20, 25. So that angle here is 25 degrees. We have measured it and found the angle here to be 25 degrees. 25 degrees. Roman 2, angle CAB. We need to measure angle CAB. Again, when you are measuring angle CAB, as I've said, it is this middle letter, which is A, meaning this is the angle we need to measure. This is the angle we need to measure. To measure that angle, once again, take your protractor, make it stand at A, the center of your protractor to be at A. I have already explained what the center of a protractor is. That way, you realize in that case, you realize if I do this way, the other line, this line is short enough, I cannot tell the angle here. So what I can do in that case, I'm free to extend this line, as long as it does not introduce, as long as it continues as a straight line, I'm free to extend that line that way. Now I can easily measure this, because when I align everything in order, I can easily see that. So in this case, I want you to be very keen also on the choice of scales used. So from here, I'm going to read in this manner, but the scale with 0 at the beginning here is the inner scale. So 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 110. It's noted at 120. It is 117. 117. That is 117 degrees. So this angle here is 117 degrees. So 117 degrees. 117 degrees. We are proceeding well. We are proceeding very, very well. So finally, let's measure angle ACB. ACB means the middle letter here is C, meaning this is the angle we are measuring. How do you align your protractor? I can position it this way. I can position it ACB. I can position my protractor this way. I'm just trying to get the best way. Once I position my protractor that way, you can see now the inner scale is the one starting with 0, 10, 20, 30, 35. It is at 38. 38. So the angle here is 38 degrees. 38 degrees, how you measure. So this angle here is 38 degrees. What do you get when you try to add this? When you add 25 plus 117 plus 38, you are going to get 180 degrees, which normally tell you that the sum of interior angles of a triangle add up to 180 degrees. 180 degrees. Let's look at example 2. Let's look at example 2. Let's look at example 2 of our discussion. Example 2. Example 2, we can have construct triangle PQR such that construct triangle PQR such that PQ is equivalent to 8 centimeters, comma, angle R PQ is equivalent to 60 degrees and angle R QP is equivalent to I can talk about is equivalent to 90 degrees. 90 degrees. So I want to construct that triangle. Under our solution, ladies and gentlemen, it will be very simple. Under our solution, they are saying we construct triangle PQR such that PQ is 8 centimeters, angle RPQ is equal to 60 degrees, and angle RQP is equal to 90 degrees. So what are we going to do here? Step number one, we are going to draw the line. Let's have the line PQ. We are going to draw our line. Let me have it down here. That is our line. At the starting point here, I can label it P. But I know P to Q should be 8 centimeters. So I have to measure 8 centimeters using a compass and a ruler. I have to measure. This is my 8 centimeters. I'll stand here at P and now make an arc here. That point is the point we call Q. And this angle here, this length here is 8 centimeters as per the question. Angle PRQ is 60 degrees. Remember, when you talk about angle RPQ is 60 degrees. The middle angle is, the middle letter here is P. So meaning at P you make sure it is 60 degrees here at P. So it means maybe R will be somewhere at the top here. R, P, Q being 60 degrees. I'm now going to construct 60 degrees at this point. Hope you remember how to construct 60 degrees. I take my compass. I'll stand at P. I'm going to stand here at P. I'll stand here at P. With any radius, I can even reduce the radius. With any of my radius, I make an arc. I make an arc like that. Without adjusting the radius of my compass, I'll come to the point where this arc has cut the line PQ and stand there. I'll come to this point here where it has cut the line PQ. Once I stand there, I'm going to make another arc. I'm going to make another arc like that. So after that, I'm now going to join using a ruler from P to where those two arcs have cut each other. From P to where those two arcs have cut each other. So let us see. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. You are free to extend your line up to where you wish. There is no penalty on that as long as it's a straight line. So now when you measure this angle, I'm sure now this angle is 60 degrees. That is how you construct 60 degrees. I think I will explain it well when we were covering that part. Then the question proceeds and says angle RQP is 90 degrees. I explained how, so the middle point here is Q, meaning that at Q here you have to put 90 degrees. I explained how to construct 90 degrees. You stand at Q. To make 90 degrees here at Q, you stand here at point Q. Once you stood at point Q, you can adjust your compass radius, make an arc on the right, make another arc on the left. I've made two arcs. Go to the arc maybe on the left, stand there. Once you stand there, ladies and gentlemen, extend your compass so that it exceeds half of that length. Make an arc at the top, make another arc at the bottom. Without adjusting the same compass, transfer the compass now to stand at this other arc on the right hand side. You be very accurate. I've stood there. Make an arc at the top, make another arc at the bottom, like that. Then now draw a line. Draw a straight line. Draw a straight line. Draw a straight line. So I'm drawing a straight line, ladies and gentlemen. I'm drawing a straight line. So once you draw a straight line, you will find that the lines are intersecting somewhere here. The point where the lines have intersected is the point we call point R. That point we call it point R now. And you would have completed drawing your triangle. So from this, I want we measure. From this, I want we measure the size of angle P RQ. I want we measure the size of angle P RQ. So R is the middle angle, meaning we are going to measure this angle here. That is the angle we have to measure. And how do you measure it? Now you take your compass. You take your compass. Remember, we are measuring that angle. So after taking your compass, it's not your compass, sorry, your protractor, align it that way such that the center of the protractor is at the intersector point of those two lines. It should be at the intersectory point of the two lines. When you look at that angle now, you measure, you read from the inner scale 0, 10, 20, 30. So this angle here is 30 degrees. So meaning that angle PRQ is equivalent to 30 degrees. You can also get a simple question asking you to measure the length of line QR. Line QR. If you are asked to measure the length of line QR, how do you achieve that? So I'll use my compass. Stand at Q here. After standing here at Q, extend my compass to R. Extend my compass to R. There it is. Transfer the reading now to my ruler. Transfer the mine is it is 12 feet. Transfer the reading now there. That is 13.2 centimeters. 13.2 centimeters. So I get this reading as 13.2 centimeters. Then also you can be asked to measure PR. To measure PR, it is simple. Stand at P here with your compass. Stand at P. Extend it so that it reaches R. Then transfer the reading. So I want to leave that as an assignment. Can you measure for me the length of PR? Then drop your answer in the comment section. Share to me your answer in the comment section. Let's look at the last example. That is example number 3 on this substrand before we look at the last item. Example number 3. Example number 3, I want to say construct triangle ABC such that AB is equal to 5 centimeters. AB is 5 centimeters. Angle ABC is equal to 30 degrees. And angle CAB is equal to 45 degrees. 45 degrees. So that is the question we have. We are supposed to respond to that question, ladies and gentlemen. Construct triangle ABC such that AB is equal to 5 centimeters, angle ABC is equal to 30 degrees, and angle CAB is equal to 45 degrees. So in that case, I'll again draw my line. I'll again draw my line. This time round, I want you to be very attentive. Be very, very much attentive, dear learners. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share our videos to your other friends. So this is my A, but I have to make sure that AB is 5 centimeters as per the requirements of the question. 5 centimeters. So that means I'm going to use a ruler and a compass to measure 5 centimeters. Let's measure. Yeah, that's our 5 centimeters. So I'll stand here at A, then make a mark here to see where it's going to cut here. So this point will be B, and this is 5 centimeters. After measuring 5 centimeters, angle ABC should be 30 degrees. Because they are saying angle ABC should be 30 degrees, the middle letter here is B, meaning at B it should be 30 degrees. Here at B it should be 30 degrees. How do you construct 30 degrees? Remember, here we are constructing, you don't measure. To construct 30 degrees, you first need to construct 90 degrees. To construct 30 degrees, you construct 60 degrees, then you bisect your 60 degrees to get your 30 degrees. So let's construct 60 degrees here. I'll stand here at B, then adjust my compass radius to that way, make an arc. Make an arc that way. After making an arc without adjusting the same measurement, transfer your compass to this point where the arc cut the line AB, then make another arc to cut there. Then now you now join B through that point where the arcs have cut each other, through this point, that way. So I expect this angle here to be 60 degrees. Let's try and measure that angle to confirm if it is 60. So when you measure the angle, yes, it is 59. That's correct. Remember, you are allowed, due to some errors, you can have 50 plus or minus 1 degree. So that is 60 degrees we've constructed. This is 60 degrees. Now, but because our main interest is 30 degrees, we are now going to bisect these 60 degrees to get 30 degrees. Do you remember how to bisect an angle? We said when you want to bisect an angle, you stand at this point B. You stand at that point B. Then cut this bottom line, cut this upper line. Like that. Go to one of your arcs, this lower arc maybe. You can even adjust now your compass radius. Make an arc here. Go to this top arc. Again, make another arc like that. Then now you are free to draw your arc. You are free to draw your line. You are free to draw your line that way. So you realize I've now bisected that angle, and I expect now this angle here to be 30 degrees. I expect that angle to be 30 degrees. Let's confirm by measuring it now. Let's confirm by measuring that angle. When you measure that angle, you see 0, 10, 20. It's exactly at 30 degrees. I'm using the outer scale because it is the one beginning with a 0. So that's how you do that part. Likewise, learners, they are saying from the equation, angle CAB is 45 degrees. At A here, the middle point is A. So at A, I should be 45 degrees. To construct 45 degrees, you first need to construct 90 degrees. Then you now bisect your 90 degrees to get 45 degrees each. So how do you construct 90 degrees? Do you still remember? Wonderful. To construct 90 degrees, first you stand at A here. You stand at A here. After standing at A, ladies and gentlemen, make an arc on the left hand side. Make another arc. Make another arc at the right hand side. Hope I've not interfered with it. Yes. After making your two arcs, go to your arc, maybe the one on the left. Increase your radius of the compass a bit so that it can exceed half of that line. Make an arc at the top. Make an arc at the bottom. Transfer the same measurement of your compass to the arc at the right hand side here. Make an arc at the top. Make another arc at the bottom. After that, ladies and gentlemen, now you can now join this way, this way. What I've done, I've constructed 90 degrees. This angle here is now 90 degrees. But our motive is to get the 45 degrees. Angle CAB should be 45. So to get 45, when you bisect 90 degrees, you get 45 degrees each. But do you remember how to bisect an angle once again? Remember, this is our 90 degrees, ladies and gentlemen. To bisect it again, I'm going to stand here at C. Sorry, at A, not at C. I'll stand there with a compass radius of any length. Make an arc here. You be very keen with your arcs. I've said make an arc to cut the upper line. Make an arc to cut this horizontal line. I've seen my two arcs. Come to one of your arcs. This arc may be here that I've made. Come to this arc here. While I'm there, you can adjust your compass radius, maybe increase or decrease. Make an arc that way. Transfer the same radius and stand here at this upper arc. I want to stand exactly here. Then make another arc. You can see my two arcs have cut each other at this point. Now join using a ruler and a pencil or other pen, whatever you are using, to this point. Join it that way. So you realize this angle now here is 45 degrees. And where this line of 30 degrees have intersected with this line of 45 degrees, they have intersected here. That point is the point now we call point C. Point C. So our triangle ABC is this one here. This is now our triangle. That is how you cover up that part. That is how you cover up that part, ladies and gentlemen. That's how you proceed with that. There is nothing to struggle about, absolutely nothing to struggle about. So let us let's do this example. This one goes on this one is concerning constructing. This one is talking about constructing circles. Let's look at how to construct circles. Constructing circles, and I want to look at an example direct. Let's get to examples. Example 1, let us say using a ruler and compass only. Using a ruler and compass only, comma, and using O as the center. Using O as the center of the circle. Using O as the center of the circle. In each case, comma, construct part A, a circle of radius 2 centimeters. Part B, what again we are doing, a second circle of radius, a second circle of radius 3 centimeters. Then part C of our discussion, shade the area. Shade the area. Shade the area between. Shade the area between the two circles. Between the two circles, and find its area. And find its area. And find its area. There we are, ladies and gentlemen. So the instructions are very clear as per the question. Using a ruler and compass only. Using a ruler and compass only, and using O as the center of the circle in each case, construct part A, a circle of radius 2 centimeters. So how do you construct a circle of radius 2 centimeters? This is very, very simple, ladies and gentlemen. So under our solution, this should be the approach. Under our solution, this should be the approach. So I want this point here to be my point O. That point that should be my point O. To construct now a circle of radius 2 centimeters, I'm now going to take my ruler. After I've taken my ruler this way, I'm now going to measure 2 centimeters. That is my 2 centimeters. This is my 2 centimeters I've measured. With O as the center, I'm now going to stand here at O. with O as my center. Now you draw a circle with two, remember the radius should be 2 centimeters. So this is my circle with O as my center, meaning while standing at O, just draw your circle. Nothing to struggle. Nothing to struggle about. That is my circle. That's my circle. Then part B says a second circle of radius 3 centimeters. So to draw a second circle again of radius 3 centimeters, still with O as my center, I'm going to measure 3 centimeters. Here is my 3 centimeters. Again, I'm going to go back to O as my center. Then I draw my circle. I draw my circle. I draw my circle. I'm drawing my circle. That is my circle. I've drawn my other circle. Then the next part of the question says, shade the area between the two circles and find its area. So what the question is, this area in between these two circles is what we are going to shade. After that, what are they saying? Find its area. So to get the area of the shaded part here, we are first going to get area of the outer circle. So let's start by getting area of the outer circle. Remember, area of a circle is given by pi r squared. So my pi, let me use 22/7 times the radius. The outer circle is the second circle whose radius was 3 centimeters. So this will be times 3 squared. So this is giving us, let's use our calculator. That is 22/7 times 3 squared times 3 squared. We are getting our answer as 28.29. 28.29 square centimeters. That is the area of the outer circle. Let's also now compute area of the inner circle, which is given by pi r squared. Our pi here will be 22/7 multiplied by the radius. The radius of the inner circle is 2 centimeters. So you multiply this by 2 squared. Again, here you use your calculator. Using your calculator. So my calculator, 22/7 multiplied by 2 squared. That is giving us 12.57. 12.57 square centimeters. 12.57 square centimeters. After that, the question was find its area now, the shaded area. Let me talk about area of the shaded region is equivalent to you take the area of your bigger circle, which is 28.29, you minus the area of your smaller circle, which is 12.57. You minus 12.57. What are you going to get? When you take 28.29 minus 12.57, you are going to get 15.72. So 15.72 square centimeters is your answer. Don't forget to subscribe, like and share our videos to your other friends. In case you want to reach out, our consultation number is 07 41 30 43 11. We offer personalized tuition programs, both online and physical, based on the learner needs. Thank you for participating in this lesson. See you in our upcoming session. Have a blessed day ahead and success in mathematics.